Did you really come up with that idea yourself? You're being too sensitive about this. I'll do all the talking in this meeting. Or my all time favorite, I'm surprised you're so articulate. Statements like these don't sting in the moment. They can derail your confidence, your contribution, and ultimately your career trajectory. Hi, y'all. I'm Georgia Wolfe-Samuels, CPA turned career strategist and personal branding coach. And in this special follow up episode of Surprising Tools That Actually Help You Advance Your Career, we're taking advocacy language to the next level. While knowing how to advocate for your contributions is essential, knowing how to advocate for yourself in the face of biases, microaggressions, and career barriers requires a different set of tools entirely. Today, I'm sharing my proprietary Q method for navigating these challenging moments with power, with precision, and professionalism. I share this method because I've lived the cost of not having it throughout my career. I've had many run ins with career aggressions, comments questioning my competence, meetings where I was talked over repeatedly, projects where my work product was attributed to others. And unfortunately, for most of my career, I didn't have the language of advocacy in my toolkit. This caused me to feel diminished, frustrated, and often invisible, despite the quality of my work. I would leave these interactions replaying what happened, thinking of what I should have said, and carrying that heaviness throughout my next workdays. I remember one season when I was told by a leader that he will do all the talking in a meeting, despite the fact that I prepared a presentation and I practiced for days. I sat there in that meeting, silent, my confidence draining, as I wondered if speaking up would label me as difficult or too sensitive. And that silence cost me not just recognition in that moment, but pieces of my professional confidence that took years to rebuild. I developed the Q method because I needed it myself. I needed a way to navigate these professional spaces. And now I'm sharing it with you because I know exactly how it feels to wish you had the right words at the right time. But I am not the only one, and it is unfortunate. This goes beyond uncomfortable moments. These instances of having your ideas dismissed, your authority questioned, or your identity diminished create real career barriers. Each time we're caught off guard by these interactions, we face an impossible choice: respond and risk being labeled as difficult, or stay silent and have our boundaries eroded. The cost to our wellness, to our confidence, and our career momentum is then enormous. But it doesn't have to be this way. Because when you're equipped with the right advocacy tools, these moments of potential derailment can transform into opportunities to establish your boundaries, affirm your value, and even educate others. The key is to change our response from reactive to strategic. And this requires us to stop seeing these challenging moments as unpredictable ambushes and start recognizing them as navigable situations for which we can prepare. This isn't about having the perfect comeback or winning an uncomfortable exchange, although, of course, we naturally want to win, right? Instead, it's about responding in ways that preserve your dignity, that establish your clear boundaries, and that keep the focus on your professional contributions rather than others' perceptions of who you are or your identity. While you can't control what comments come your way, you can absolutely control how you process and respond to them. It means shifting from reactive emotion to strategic responses, from being caught off guard to being mentally prepared, and from replaying difficult interactions with regret to navigating them with intention and walking away with your power intact. So now let's go through the framework. What exactly is the Q method and how does it create the shift from reactive to strategic? Q stands for question, listen to understand, and express yourself accurately. So the Q is for question, the U is for understand, and the E is for express. This three-step framework gives you a practical, in the moment approach to navigating career aggressions and biases while maintaining your professional presence. So let me break this down a little further. Step one, question. When you encounter a comment that feels biased or dismissive, begin by asking a clarifying question. For example, if someone says, "You're being too emotional about this," you might respond with, "That's interesting. Could you help me understand what specifically came across as emotional in my analysis or in my response?" This accomplishes three things. It creates a pause in the interaction. It places responsibility back on the speaker to explain their comment, and it gives you time to compose your thoughts and be able to respond. Step two is to listen to understand. This doesn't mean accepting or validating inappropriate comments. What it means is that you genuinely listen to identify what's really happening in the interaction. Is this a misunderstanding that can be clarified? Is it an unconscious bias that needs gentle correction? Or is it a pattern of behavior that requires a more direct boundary? Listening with discernment helps you to calibrate your response appropriately instead of using the same approach for every situation. And then step three is to express yourself articulately. And by this, I mean respond with clear, concise language that addresses the situation while maintaining your professionalism. Here's an example of a response. "I've reviewed the data thoroughly, and my recommendation is based on those findings. I'd appreciate focusing our discussion on the analysis rather than the perceptions of my delivery." This final step is about expressing your boundary, redirecting to the substance of your work, and doing so in a language that's both firm and professionally appropriate. The Q method is not about confrontation, it's about clarification. It's about understanding and articulating self advocacy that keeps your career momentum moving forward, even through challenging interactions. When you implement the Q method in your professional interactions, three specific advantages emerge. Ooh, I love the number three. Number one, you maintain your power. Instead of being thrown off balance by unexpected comments, you have a ready framework to navigate them. And this prevents the confidence drain that comes from feeling blindsided or replaying interactions with regret afterwards. Number two, you establish clear boundaries. You communicate what is and isn't acceptable in professional interactions with you. Over time, this shapes how others engage with you and creates a more respectful environment for your contributions. And number three, you keep the focus on your work. By redirecting conversations back to your professional contributions rather than getting derailed by inappropriate comments. This ensures that your ideas, your analysis, and your recommendations remain the center of attention rather than stereotypes or biases. Again, the Q method isn't about winning arguments or putting others in their place. It's about maintaining your professional momentum even when faced with comments that could derail it. And in today's workplace, especially for women sitting on the margins of corporate spaces, having a strategy for these moments isn't optional, it is essential. But here's the thing, it doesn't guarantee that you'll never face these situations again. The reality is that women, especially women of color, navigate these challenges disproportionately in professional environments every single day. But having a response framework transforms these moments from disempowering ambushes to navigable situations. Because while you can't control what comes your way, you can absolutely control how you respond to it. The power of the Q method is that it gives you back your agency in these interactions, allowing you to respond rather than react and to move forward with your dignity and focus intact. So, if you find yourself replaying workplace interactions and wishing you had responded differently, or if you feel your career momentum is being interrupted by how others perceive or receive you in a negative way, Maybe what you need isn't more resilience. Maybe it's a strategic method for advocating through these moments. This is just another surprising tool in our career advancement toolkit. So make sure to subscribe and stay locked in for the rest of the series, surprising tools that actually help you advance your career.